traveling engagement on their hands as well. And yes, this very morning, as we have this conversation, one would wonder about the citizens' mindset and their mental health, and how do you monitor projects as we have them across the country. And our good friends joining us. Good morning to you, Sadiq.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
And of course,
Kingsley.
Kingsley, yeah. I knew there was a king somewhere in your name. I just remember the Slee part. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks.
All right, so you guys have been across the country. PPDC, tell us briefly about your engagement in Adamawa State, which is in the north. And I can tell that there's a lot to examine about accountability, transparency, and the likes of that in that part of the country.
Yeah. Good morning, Abuja. Thanks for that question. As part of our mandate in PPDC, we try to engage CSOs and citizens on their rights and their responsibilities as individuals, their civic responsibilities, to monitor and propel government officials and the organizations to deliver their services properly. So part of what we do is sensitize, we mobilize, and we give them the support that they need to help bring these services to their localities. And in cases where these services are not properly delivered, we teach them and motivate them on how to go about it to bring these services to their locality in the right way that it should be.
Okay, so how was the experience of, doing this, all you just described, how was the experience of getting that across to people in Adamawa State where you're recently not just branching out from, yeah, Sadiq? Yes, go on. Yes. Oh, what was the experience of deploying everything about teaching accountability, making citizens aware? How was it like in Adamawa State?
Yeah, thank you and good morning, Abuja. Well, it's quite interesting because you're taking people through a process which they are aware of, but they have not really thought about it in that sense. And the approach we use there's a system we use which we call the open contracting system. So that system is basically a concept which it's all about publishing timely information about all of these contracting processes, which thereby leads to the accountability and transparency of all of these processes. So, and we have this information via a portal, which we call the Open Contracting Portal, and this information is being presented following a specific standard, which we call the Open Contracting Data Standard. So it was quite interesting having to have an interactive session with the procurement officials, with CSOs and community members at large.
Okay, so let me come to Kingsley on this. So you spoke about project monitoring, and of course there has to be a project management group, and you said everything literally on a timeline, and you want to see how one process grows into leading and into another process. And essentially, one would wonder, what are some of the processes you are looking out for in examining monitoring projects in different locations?
Okay. The highlights for most of these processes is first to get information and data from implementing agencies like UBEC and SUBEB, and this data is filtered and scrutinized. Sometimes it needs we actually have a data analyst who look for this information and check for discrepancies. This data can sometimes are mostly also mobilized into our platform Budeshi, which also houses information on procurement and other data like that. So this information are disseminated to CBMs. We have community-based monitors in different states across the country. So these people use this data to monitor projects in their localities because they know these places, they know the situation on ground, they know the terrain, so they can monitor this project and give feedback on the implementation stage of this project. So if they notice discrepancies, the project is say 2 blocks of classrooms and they just go there to build the toilets, that's wrong. So they can report back to us and say this is the thing they noticed, this is the contractor, this is how it's been, and we can then follow up with the community to get that project done in their locality the proper way it should be.
That's quite interesting. The fact that you have monitors that will be able to look at a project and understand if a toilet turns out to be a classroom, or a classroom turned out to be a toilet, which would be a mismatch of what you said you would do with the money and what you eventually did. Because what we often say see it's cutting of ribbons. Nobody ever sometimes looks back into the plan and the allocation of what was done. I'm curious about this, guys. So many community people sometimes, and this question is for both of you. A lot of community people end up saying they said they were going to come to do this. They complain to everybody like they would complain to a government that is running or that runs the administration of their various communities over and over again. And I wonder, did any community member have anything to say about a peculiar project? I'll give an example. I was seeing a video recently.
Hallelujah, we go away. And some are also are afraid to complain, because if they do, they're afraid they might just take it away and never bring anything back. So to some, it's a level of favor that it gets. And so it's up to us as organizations, as individuals who are aware, to enlighten these people on how to go about these things, how to report, how to take up these situations, pay courtesy visits, call on us, can reach out to PPDC as an organization to help bring this project down to their locality.
Now, what's your experience like for the similar case? You just talked about communities also being afraid that what they seem to get will be taken away from you. You have two fishes, and it looks like the river is being taken away from your town if you're not careful. Is this fear, or should I say sense of, we will not even get anyone at all if you complain? Is this still pervasive in so many communities as we have it in Nigeria?
Yeah, that's quite a common fear, because like you mentioned with the real example, so he was launching the well and cutting ribbons with his chest like he's doing them a favor. So a lot of people in the community, they have that belief that these are favors to them. So they don't want to push their boundary, overstep in such a way that they get denied of these favors. So that's why they're afraid to complain. So they just like live with what they are giving. So, and again, this is an issue of lack of information, because like you mentioned, you don't know if there's a budget for it. A lot of people in the community, they don't know. So they just wake up one morning and get to do something for them which they previously didn't have. So basically, and they have that idea like it's a favor for them. They don't know if there's a budget for it. They don't know when it was initiated. They don't know what was released, what was awarded. So that's some of the reasons why they don't complain. So they just accept whatever they get and live on their life.
Sadiq, earlier you spoke about launching a portal. What does that portal seek to address? Let me ask you that before I bring people in to take the calls, just to hear from them what it feels like to be informed, misinformed, or not informed, and be expecting projects to come up magically. Tell me about the portal your team is working on to inform people.
So the portal, we call it, like I mentioned some moments ago, an open contracting portal. So the portal basically displays information that has to do with the government contracting processes, from the planning to the initiation, all of the way to the implementation. And this is interesting. The standard is actually an international standard. It's adopted across 30 countries over the world, including Nigeria, obviously. And now, some of the things that this portal wants to address is, first of all, delivering better value for money for the government, because it helps the government save money and time, because all of the processes, all of the work that goes into publishing and having this information accessible has been done for you by the portal. So you just put in this information via certain fields, and how the information is presented is handled by the portal. And it's very easy to share this information, very accessible. You could share it in CSV format, in PDF format, you could reuse, and it also helps it enables a very in-depth analysis of these contracts processes, and it helps you to identify problems at which stage of the contracting process those problems are, which helps you inform how to approach a solution. So
It's interesting. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people want to join the conversation on this. The numbers are 0700-951-0000. And if you're curious like I am, we've seen what one would sometimes call project monitoring and transparency and delivery of projects done on Facebook. Okay, it happens on Facebook because that's where they did gather people. So Lots of lawmakers and constituency projects and deliverables happen on Facebook, but the question then often becomes the quality of what was said will be done and how it was done and how well it was done becomes something invariably that is difficult to determine. You see some of these government projects, some have been launched on TV, and you think, oh, this is where everything we've worked for and the people who voted for us are delivering the dividends of democracy, but it's often not the same situation. But if you're listening this morning and you want to jump in on this conversation, please do on 07009510000. Transparency, delivery, and what even the people in the various communities should be looking out for. PPDC is asking you about that this morning. Good morning. How are you today? All right, Elder. Yes, let's hear from you.
How can somebody learn well? Maybe.
Yes, I'm here.
That type of human being that went and lost well, they supposed to stone him to death inside that well. They will bury him there well.
Oh, that's quite heavy-handed.
Later, they are contributing more to the hardship. They supposed to stone that well. How can you go and lose well? I said yesterday that all the State House of Rep, they need to scrap them. In fact, they need to destroy our constitution.
No, you won't say that on our radio. No, my brother, you won't say that on radio. The Nigerian Constitution remains the highest reference document. You may have your sentiments, but that stays, and that's not a statement that should be accounted for or counted as such. But let's hear from more people this morning. Good morning to you. Glad you connected with us on Nigerian. Oh dear, that is stay. Call back as soon as you can. Different projects launched, bragged about, fully chested, and you wonder, is there any way you can go to find out what was said will be done, how it was done, and if it's ever going to be done? And there's some of this information available on the PPDC portal that allows people to check what was said over and over again. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
How are you today?
I'm very fine.
Great. What's your name?
My name is Sadiq. I'm calling you from Sambo.
You're welcome. Please go on.
Thank you very much. Adamawa asked Mr. President to just indeed.
Oh dear. We're not holding that conversation now. Not the impeachment conversation now. Yes. But thanks for trying to get your input in with regards to that. Yes, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
How are you today? What's your name? All right, Sebastian. Oh yeah, good morning to you. Okay, go on, share with us. Let's hear from you.
Okay, to me, the project is not, people in the community do not know what any House of Representatives or House of Senate are being given to be done in the community. So if you are in any community and any House of Rep come to the community and try to do a borehole, no matter how substandard the borehole is, you still take it as the biggest thing or one of the good things that he has done. Or you look at it as he has done the people a favor because the information is not there. The orientation on how much the federal government give these people to come and do work in the community is nobody know anything about it. They only come and do whatever they do and brag about that as if it is them that do it. Some of them even go ahead and put their name on those things they do. If it is a toilet they do, they put their name in the toilet at the entrance of the toilet. They are the one that do this, so that as time goes on, they can be able to come and claim it even tomorrow. So that is my own opinion. That people are not informed on how this thing goes. I don't know how much the federal government giving to the House of Reps to do anything. So whatever they do there, I don't know if it is the right thing.
If it's legit or otherwise, I quite understand with you, and it continues to remain a fundamental problem even here in Nigeria. That it's what you see that sometimes you start to wonder if it ever matches what was looking like the heavyweight Babariga that brought it along, if I can say it that way. Don't mind me. All right, let's keep up with you. Yes, good morning to you. Oh, there, your radio needs to be turned down. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. What's your name, please?
My name is Kingsley. I'm calling from Abuja.
All right, peace. Let's hear you.
The country is getting very, very annoying. Very, 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 very annoying. The children. Taking us as if we don't know what is happening. Yes. We have increased illiteracy level. That is why we are not being informed and aware of how much is given out. And somebody will come and do a useless project. A very useless project. Something that is not even 0.0051% the amount given to him. And he'll put his name and be publicizing it. See, because that other caller said we should destroy our Nigerian constitution and start all over it.
Mm. Mm. Okay, but that's a conversation that is for another day. But I don't think a revolution conversation is the one we're looking out for right now. But it's interesting that if people are saying at the federal level that there's so many things that could be done, at the community level where literally the young boy was, I mean, guys, if I'm wrong about this, let me know. Many lawmakers or people who do stuff in communities and ask for votes from the same communities are familiar to the neighbors of that community. So why is it so strange to do something so nice and noble, something that you say you will do for the community, and actually even make it transparent enough to say, with this fund that's allocated, oh, PPDC, this is what we have received, this is what we expected to do, and this is what we have done. Do you think sometimes some of the people in charge of these projects are willing even to open up to their community about what they are doing and not what they have done or what they have presented have been done?
For me, I think it's actually funny to know that a lot of these people, they only go home or go to canvass votes when it's almost time to vote. They never see them after the election is done. So most time what we tell them is, before this election comes, when these people are coming, people should have a list of demands and a list of a priority that you should give them. Now, this is what we want. This is how we want you to go about it. Not you just coming during the campaign period and promise and leave just when you're done. Not coming back to even check the situation, check the progress or anything. And most times, even when the contracts are awarded, the people that draw these contracts to these localities are not even aware of the implementation. The contractor comes, sometimes they falsify information. They just tell, sometimes we've heard of a case where a gatesman was asked to sign for completion of project. That should be done by the principal or the authority.
Wait. Back up a little bit. So a gatesman signed.
Yeah, he was asking the gatesman to sign for a project, and the gatesman could not even read and write, and he just put his pen to paper and he went away. And the principal had to come and say, why was that done? So there are instances like this where irregularities and the contractors are just willing to just do whatever they can do and get away with the rest of it. So it's absurd, but I think information generally would help improve this whole situation, because if there's bill of quantity brought down to the principals or the head of these organizations or institutions, they can monitor and say, oh no, this is not what was put in this budget or this contract that you're delivering, and they can then monitor and supervise. And that the level of information actually by default instills fear in the heart of the project deliverer, to know that yes, these people are aware of what I'm going to deliver. If I deliver something wrong or something substandard, they can follow up. So I think that's just one way of ameliorating this whole situation.
Yeah, and Sadiq, I don't know if you were brought in on this, but many contractors are also afraid of really telling exactly what they have received as the final numbers to commission a project or to get a project done. Maybe the person awarding the contract got as much as maybe 6 million naira for a contract. The contractor gets 600,000 naira. And when you do ask question about, so how much did you get to do, for you to bring a primary school chair to represent an executive chair in this situation, you find them stuttering and not even willing to be transparent about why the name has gone under some level of disrepute, rather we register another company. So why do you think that's going on? Because a lot of times we keep shouting the contractor has messed up, he has failed with all the money, but then he doesn't want to give up this source of how much he has really received to get those jobs done.
Well, one key issue is an issue of integrity on the side of the contractor and lack of accountability. We feel like we don't have to answer to anyone because, to be honest, we've already built a system that is quite guarded, quite classified, if I should say. So on the one hand, the contractors themselves, they don't have that integrity. On the other hand, then the citizens or the recipients or the stakeholders of this project, they don't have the information and they don't even know they are supposed to ask these questions, right?
Yeah.
So these are two different issues, and these are actually issues that our open contracting portal seeks to address some of the issues, because it's a tool that is very important to ensure that citizens get the services they deserve, and it carries them through the processes. So, like my colleague here mentioned, we get like for project monitoring, we get some of this information on our Budeshi or Nokopo, and this information are gotten from this ministry and MDAs via FOI request, the Freedom of Information Act of 2011. So, and it's nice that some states are beginning to have this conversation, because if it can trickle down all of the way to this level, and this information are being disclosed, people know that they can ask this question. They have a portal where they can actually go up and look up some of this information on these MDAs, on these agencies, on certain years, certain contracts, and they know what questions to ask and who to ask these questions. So
I see. Okay. Well, of course, there's still the local government level there. That's almost missing in action and governance in Nigeria. Morpheus in Maitama did writing. He said, and this is what he said, you will get to hear words like, at least he tried. He tried to do something. What did Mr. A or B do in his time? It's a case of a beggar had no choice. Lack of information is key to solving this issue of contracts. Morpheus in Maitama expressed it this way, that many community people will say, at least he tried. What did A or B do during his time? Okay, we're pressed for time, but just before we round off, let's take two calls to keep things going at this point in time. The conversation is simple and reflective. Your thoughts about this make a certain difference over and over again. Yes, good morning to you. How are you today? All right then, go on with your contribution. We're listening to you.
Actually, I'm following the conversation right. But I think what is happening here in Nigeria, generally, I want to say that the problem we are facing now is just from the head over here. In the sense that a nation or a country where there are people who have access to their representatives, now number one thing, the information will be lack. Then since the information will be lack, people who vote to their representatives, they don't know what they vote to him or her for. And those who they voted, think they have the privilege to know that those people, they are ignorant of what they vote for. They can do whatever they want.
I see.
I represent a nation, I represent a community, and I went and did something like this well or borrow. But my brother, let's say the fact, all those things are just they are not even something that to be presented.
It's a primary assignment. Okay. Interesting thought from you. No, I see. I get your point as well. Thank you so much. Okay, so because we're pressed for time, let's squeeze in this one and take a bow. Yes, good morning to you. Yeah, good morning to you.
Quickly, my name is Soji Lugbe this morning.
All right, Soji, let's talk.
Yes, quick one. You know, all these things we are talking about, it sounds so good. Getting project done. There's an aspect another that I want us to even look at. Citing of projects in areas of political influence. That is what I mean. Projects are being cited to places where you know your supporters are, not even where they are needed. I don't know if you get the point.
Oh, I do.
Another issue, when you people cite projects based on who you perceive as friends or enemies, not because of any need or any standard, just because these are a set of people that vote me in. You know, citing projects based on political patronage is another problem in this country. We have universities cited in areas where it is so much not needed. Airports being cited in areas that look like, why would you even cite airport in this place? When you hear prejudice of reputation in the hometown of the governor or in the, you understand? That's another thing we should look into. Citing projects in areas where they are not needed, but they are. That's my contribution, sir.
Continue conversation next week.
Fantastic thoughts from you. So citing projects based on favoritism and political influence, and also to gain influence over and over again. It's one that one cannot shy away from. But before we do go, you want to share how people can check up on their various communities and the portal that they're on. Your final words on how people can reach your organization. Let's share that, Kingsley.
Okay. Before I go, I would like to say that we should actually share the sentiment of most of these our callers, especially our last caller. But people have to do more, not just saying okay, the situation is bad. But we also have to do more, be accountable, ask for accountability, not just saying it's all the information is not there. But even when you get the information, do you actually try to source for this information? Do you actually try to follow up and see that things are done properly? So we actually believe that we all should do more. It's also to mobilize, not just to share the sentiment and say, oh, it's all bad, it's all bad. So, but if you want to reach us, we have a toll-free number at PPDC where you can call and not get charged for it. It's 0800-2833-744. I'll take that again. 0800-283-3744. And you can also reach us on our social media handles on Twitter, PPMonitorNG. The NG is in caps, PPMonitorNG. And on Facebook, we are on Procurement Monitor. And Twitter, Instagram, we are on Procurement_Monitor.
All right, then. Great. Thanks so much, Kingsley. And of course, Sadiq. Okay, we have to continue this conversation at another time. Likely next week, yeah? Next week, or you should do that next week.
You should join me next.
All right, so we'll see how your thoughts are. By the way, between now and next week, you should check out what PPDC website is all about and all the portals being available for you. You might find out, or you may be able to point them in the direction of what may be missing in action. Once again, Sadiq, you want the roundup, yeah?
Yeah, so aside from the toll-free numbers and social media, people should try and go up on our website, which is www.procurementmonitor.org. That's www.procurementmonitor.org. And also on our Budeshi portal, which is BUDESHI Budeshi.ng. So,
all right, well, I'm sure they'll find out a lot from there. Well, thanks for joining in this part of conversation. Stay with us.